So, hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Willow Knitting podcast. My name's Paula and I live south of Edinburgh with my husband and my little cat. I'm filming in the kitchen today just because it's much brighter. So I'm hoping that it'll be easier to show, my knitwear. But it's more distracting in here because I've got the window open. Meg's just the other side of the window on a chair. I've got my photo frame that keeps showing different photos to the right, so it might take me a minute to focus and not be distracted. Anyway, so today I have 5. So part of the reason for filming today is I've got so much to show. I've got 5 finished objects and 2 whips, and then just other stuff. Willow and I did our Bee Girl, recorded some Bee Girl footage, so I'll show that later as well. But anyway, we'll start with the finished objects. So the first finished object I have is the Ida tee by Petite Knit. So, I've been trying to build up, because I have so much winter knitwear, I've been trying to build up my summer t-shirt collection. And I think I'm doing quite well. I think I've got maybe about 4 now. Yeah, I think I've got 4 and more on the way. So, this is the Ida tee by, I don't think I can show the whole thing, by Petite Knit. She knits hers. I showed it was kind of unfinished the last time. She knits hers, I think, in Cardiff cashmere. But I want a summer t-shirt. So this is my version. I've knitted it in Drops Bell DK, and I think the yarn composition is something like cotton, linen, and viscose. I think that's what it is. And I really love it. So I love the pattern. So when I was knitting it, somehow. So you start off by, it's almost like starting a cardigan, so you start off knitting backwards and forwards until you get to the point where you can join on the round. So quite often when you knit a jumper or t-shirt, you just do German short rows on the back to raise the back of the neck as opposed to the front of the neck. But this was like starting a cardigan, so you just knit back and forth and then increase the raglan until you get to the point where you increase stitches at the front of the neck, and then you're knitting in the round, and then it's the usual split for sleeves and then knit round and round and round until you've finished. So I'm on the second version now, and I mentioned that in the last podcast. Somehow the increases, it's quite difficult because there's a lot happening on the raglan increases. I find it difficult to keep the correct number of stitches I needed, and there were a couple of times on this that I had to go back and add in a stitch. Anyway, it looks fine. The garment looks balanced. You can't tell where I've added in a stitch that was out. So, but it takes a lot of concentration doing all that, and I even, for this version the next version of I'm knitting, I've even come up with strategies to try to counter that. So I had a bit of paper that had increase written on one side and no written on the other side, just to try it, and I flipped it over when I needed to increase or not. And anyway, even then, in my next version, I'll explain when I get to it. So that was one thing that I found difficult about this pattern. And it shouldn't be difficult. It's obviously something I'm doing. Anyway, so it's knitted in, the main colour is dark jeans blue, and the contrast is cherry red. I think I used 7 balls of dark jeans blue, and I've got most of the 7th ball left, so it's just over 6 balls of the blue and 1 ball of cherry, and I don't know how much of the cherry I've got. I think I've got just some cherry red left, but not. I think it was more than half a ball I used for the contrast. So just in terms of thinking reusing the same ball in another project, yeah, I don't think I'd be able to, apart from kind of small scraps. And then it's got this for the collar, so it's kind of knitted, you know, quite, you kind of just start knitting and stop, and then you've got the whole thing, apart from you have to pick up for the collar. So the collar is the only bit that you have to kind of pick up stitches for, which is my pet hate. But anyway, I did it. And then it's a folded over collar, which is the first time I've folded over and cast off while knitting it down. Don't know what the terminology is. So you're casting off as you're kind of knitting it into through a kind of stitch that's already there, so that you don't have to then sew it down when you've finished, which is a good technique. But again, it was the first time I've done that, and it took me a bit of concentration to make sure I was picking up the kind of correct line of the stitch. I thought it would be really easy actually, but I think it's just that thing when you're not used to how something should look. So maybe in future it'll get easier because I know what it looks like. And I wasn't sure about doing a folded over collar because it is a summer garment, and I'm not sure that it really kind of warrants the bulk of a folded over collar. Anyway, I do like it, and I've said before, Petite Knit's much more experienced at designing garments than I am, so I just kind of try to religiously follow what she says and do what she tells me. And yeah, overall I'm really happy with the finished garment. I haven't worn it yet because I wanted to show it today. But yeah, I think that's, it's the other kind of thing that I've noticed other knitters who have made this mention. It has a pearl just round the kind of collar. It has a pearl line. And again, I'm not sure, because there is pearl in it in these kind of yarn overs. You kind of purl a row, knit two together, yarn over, purl a row for the holes. But it doesn't, in terms of kind of consistency and balance within the garment, I'm not sure a pearl line itself, because there's no other pearl anywhere in the garment. Just not sure about it. But anyway, like I say, I do what Petite Knit tells me, and I think this is really lovely, and I will be wearing it now that I've shown you. I've got a table in front of me as well, so I'm trying not to bump the table, and to get to the camera I have to reach over. Anyway, so that's the first thing. I think this is too hot still. Okay. So item number 2, second finished object, is what I'm wearing, which is the Peacock tee. I've knitted the Peacock tee before, so it's Lenny Home Samso. I used 6 balls of Friends cotton silk. I can't really hold it up very close. It's got because it's cotton and silk, I don't know if I can, maybe you can see. I don't know if you can see what I'm about to describe, but so when I was knitting it, I wasn't sure about, it's got a kind of, I think the silk aspect of the yarn is, the green of the silk is darker than the green of the cotton. So when I was knitting it, I wasn't sure about you get a kind of, it's not a marled effect, but it's a kind of, you know, it's not just like a flat colour. And because the peacock yoke, the yoke design is so kind of striking, I wasn't sure if the kind of two-tone green was detracting from the yoke. Anyway, I wasn't kind of that kind of bothered about it when I was knitting it. I did the yoke, and then I just kind of did round and round on the body, and the sleeves took no time at all to finish. But now that I've finished it, I really like it, and I actually think, I'm beginning to think green kind of suits me quite well as a colour. I've got my green Anker sweater as well, so I really love this. It feels really nice on. Like I say, when I was knitting it, wasn't sure about knitting in this yarn again, but it's actually really lovely, and I might make another one in a different colour. Yeah, so I really do love this now that I've finished it. I don't think there's much more to say. I've kind of talked about the Peacock tea a lot, and yeah, it's still my favourite. I've kind of got other teas that I'm making or thinking about making. It's kind of on my list, but it's still my favourite. Yeah, I just really like it. So I kind of finished it just because I wanted to get it off my needles, and I had such a kind of, you know, my spreadsheet of kind of knitting that I have kind of waiting in the wings, and which I am getting through, but I'm also adding to it. Anyway, I'll get onto that later as well. But yes, I really do love this. I think it's a really nice summer garment. So that's my second. That's all right then. Second finished item, object. So my third finished object is the Anker sweater by Petite Knit. So after filming the last podcast and showing this, I had a real kind of urge to work on it again, just because it's so lovely. I really love Drop's charisma, and I love the colours, I love the feel of the wool, and I love the design as well. So yeah, so Anker sweater by Petite Knit, and this is in Drops. It's actually blocked. I blocked it. So I blocked it, but then I didn't really have the patience to wait for it to dry, so I blocked it, and then it was on kind of the blocking mats overnight. But when my husband's at home, we don't have anywhere that we can really, we don't have a kind of spare bit of floor that I can lay it out on that we don't kind of use. So I had it on the blocking mats on the living room table. But then the following day we obviously want to use the living room, so I had to kind of move it. But I wasn't sorry about that, because like I say, I don't have the patience to wait for it to dry. So I just put a towel over the radiator in the kitchen, and then there's a little drying rack, and laid this on, and so it was kind of gently being dried by the radiator. So this is my Drops Charisma lavender Anker sweater, and I really love it. It's so nice. It's just so lovely. So I'm looking forward to kind of wearing this. Funnily enough, so occasionally I look on the wool, often I look on the Wool Warehouse website, and they had a sale on Drops Charisma the other day, and so I was looking at it thinking, oh, what colour have I not knitted something in? And I was really drawn to the chocolate brown Charisma, and I thought, oh, I'm going to knit myself a brown Anker sweater. And I thought, hold on, I think I might have I already done that? And then I went looking in my jumper bag, and of course I have already knitted. So it's lucky, it's lucky I checked, because I was on the verge of putting the brown Charisma into my online basket and buying it, and then knitting a whole other jumper. I would have ended up with 2 jumpers exactly the same. So it just shows how much knitting I have on the go. I didn't even kind of momentarily remember having knitted the brown Charisma Anker jumper before. Anyway, so there's not much to say. I've knitted this a few times now, and it's such a lovely pattern, and yeah, it's probably my favourite jumper knitting pattern. So there we go. I used 9 balls, and I think I knitted, most of the things I knit are in size 2, so they're in size small. Yeah, size 2. So the fourth finished object I have is So, in the last episode I showed a shrug that I'd knitted, the Friend to Friend shrug by Leslie Friend. And I'd knitted it in this yarn, which is, what is it? Stylecraft Sophie in indigo. So I think I bought 2 balls for the shrug and didn't use the 2 balls. So even though I can't even remember the yarn composition, I think it's got some wool in it, but it's mostly acrylic, I think. I'm not sure. But it's really soft, and so there's a time when I just needed a quick project, because working on kind of bigger projects all the time, sometimes I just need the satisfaction of a quick finish, to kind of like a palette cleanser. So I thought I'll just use the leftover Stylecraft to knit a Sophie scarf, and I was kind of tempted to, so I just knitted it on 8.5mm needles, and which is what the ball band recommended, and I followed the pattern exactly. I did think about increasing more frequently than it says on the Sophie scarf, but I thought, if it works out, it works out, and if not, fine. But actually it's become one of my favourite scarves. It's just really soft. It has a lightness about it as well because it's acrylic. So this is my kind of unintended Sophie scarf, and it's just really nice. I kind of put it on, my new way of tying my Sophie scarf, and because it's so kind of big, I don't know what it looks like. So yeah, so it's really, when I just need a bit of comfort around my neck, it's really light, soft, warm, and just really comforting. It's a kind of unexpected knit, and I really love it. So much so that even though I had put myself on a yarn ban, I was on Wool Warehouse yesterday buying, I'll show you later, buying some more summer yarn, and at the same time I bought another ball of this to make another Sophie scarf in a really kind of gorgeous raspberry red colour. So that'll be coming this week. So yeah, so it's just really nice. I've thought about doing like a shawl, but I'm not sure I'd really kind of wear a shawl. Not sure. Anyway, I love the Sophie scarves. I've got so many of them, and they just keep coming. I keep thinking I've kind of reached the end of how many Sophie scarves I can possibly have, and then I just keep knitting more. So that's my 4th finished object. So my final finished object is, so it's a pair of DK socks with German short roll heels, and I just, once you've got the formula for a sock pattern for socks, you can just kind of adjust it to any kind of gauge of yarn you have. So this isn't a pattern, I just kind of worked out how many stitches I needed to go around the circumference of my leg, and then knitted them. So it's Drops Fiesta in Winter Carnival. I'll show one at a time. So it's so jolly. I just love I hope you can see how colourful it is. It's kind of like sprinkles, when you get hundreds and thousands of sprinkles. So and they fit really well. I was a bit concerned that it wouldn't fit around my heel, but actually it does, or that I should maybe have kind of sized down a needle to kind of give it more negative ease. I haven't worn them, so I got other wool to make another pair of DK socks. So all of my socks are 4-ply, and just for the quickness I just kind of thought I'll Tri DK socks. So I got more wool, which I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, so I'm really happy. I'm looking forward to wearing these. And you know, I've talked before about, it's kind of like the Sophie scarves. It's like, you know, I need to stop knitting socks. And I put all my socks into a tub in the kitchen cupboard, and I just pull them out every kind of 2 or 3 days after I've had my bath. But actually now I think I need more socks, because I really love wearing hand knitted socks. They're so comforting, and at the end of the day it feels like such a homely thing to do. And yeah, I'm gonna knit more socks. So instead of knitting fewer, not like stopping knitting socks, I'm gonna knit more. But yeah, I thought they were very jolly. Yeah, so that's my last finished object. So for some reason I didn't prepare my works in progress, so I'll break here kind of quickly and then I'll be back in a second. Okay, I forgot to say the drops fiesta I used just over 1 50-gram ball. So I did use, I did need 2 balls to knit the socks, so I'll have to figure out, I thought about maybe kind of getting some other DK sock yarn and kind of knitting contrast heel and cuff and toe, just so that I could get another pair of socks out of the wool that I've got left for the drops fiesta. Okay, so I actually have I've got 2 works in progress. I've kind of got 3 works in progress, but one I'm going to actually rip back and start again. And I'll explain why. So, the first work in progress I have is the Ida Tee by Petite Knit again. So, I'm knitting this in, so hold on. I'll try to, it's on quite a short cord, so it's not easy to show it. I obviously don't want to drop any stitches. So this is the Ida Tee by Petite Knit again, and that's how far I've got. So, when I was choosing the yarn for the next Ida Tee, so this is Drop Spell again in moss green, and this is King Cole Linendale DK. It's a really lovely colour. I actually find when I'm trying to buy purple, it's the most difficult colour to buy. Like for ages I didn't have anything purple. Like I really love that kind of lavender purple for the Anker setter, but finding a kind of warm purple that I really like is difficult. Anyway, I like this purple and I like it together. I almost swapped the purple out for a kind of, I'll show you the raspberry colour in a minute. So when I was buying the yarn for this Ida Tee, I bought 3 lots of wool, 3 lots of yarn at the same time to make 3 further Ida t-shirts. So the purple and green, I think I've got like 6 or 7, I think I've got 7 balls of this and just need 1 ball of this. I'm going to make, in the blue and cherry Ida Tee that I've finished, the sleeves, I'll have to check whether I might want the sleeves a bit longer, so I might need more of the green. I mean, I've within the 7 balls that I've got, but I might make them just kind of one, kind of like an inch longer. Yeah, I'll see when I come to it. So yeah, so the purple and green was one colour combination. I'll show you the other 2 colour combinations that I've got. They're in plastic bags because I keep all of my wool in plastic bags. I'm not going to take them out. I'll try and keep the crinkling to a minimum. I just can't be bothered kind of taking them out of the bags. But so this is the next kind of colour combination that I bought, which is just I can't remember what this brown is called. I can't remember. Anyway, it's Drop Spell, and the off-white is a ball of yarn that I had left over from the Tulsa tank that I knitted for Karen. So yeah, I'm really into this colour combination at the minute, brown and off-white. I almost cast this on instead of the green and purple, but I did think, because I'm knitting something else that's brown and off-white at the minute, so I thought I should have some variation just in case I felt like not knitting brown and white. But I'm gonna cast this on next. I've kind of realised that it works well for me having two works in progress that I can kind of jump between. So that's what I'm going to be casting on next, the brown and off-white Ida tea. And then a bit of a mad purchase was this yellow and pink. So I nearly substituted the pink for the purple in the green and purple Ida tea. And just at the last minute I swapped it back, so I felt like the purple kind of anchored it better. Anyway, yeah, I felt like the green needed kind of deeper anchoring. So I look at this and I think, what possessed me to buy? It might be alright, I don't know. It's that yellow thing again. Yellow's not really my colour, but I'm drawn to it. And I love this raspberry colour actually, the raspberry. So this is the Linendale, King Cole Linendale again. And I really love that kind of raspberry colour. It's really cheerful. But what do we think? Do I really want an Ida tea that's maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna have to knit it anyway because I've got the yarn now. I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to knit it. I will knit it. But I actually might, given that we're in July now, I might kind of this might be a project for next summer, for next year. I'll do the brown and white Ida tea this year and get that finished, and yeah, I might the pink and yellow Ida tea might be next year. Yeah, so that's my Ida tea. That's my first whip, and then my second whip, which I actually thought this would be the one that I worked on first. So even though I'd planned to do, so this is the Key Sweater by Petite Knit. You can see I haven't done much. I've just done the collar. So I was so excited to cast this on, and I cast this on first and then cast on the Ida tea after that. And yeah, I was really excited to cast this on, and I actually thought maybe I shouldn't even bother casting the Ida tea on because I was so into this. But knitting, so it's knitted in Drops Charisma held with Drops Kid Silk. It's the same as the terrazzo neck that I knitted, which is a really, really, really lovely, cozy, comforting fabric. I just absolutely love it. And it was interesting. So I've kind of spoken before about how I'm not a patient person, and how I kind of tend to kind of forge on ahead and think I can figure things out myself, rather than kind of listening to what people who have been doing something for a long time, and designers kind of following their instructions. So the Key Sweater, so I'm knitting this in brown and white, so it's going to be, sorry about the rustling, I should have taken them out. So I mean, look how this is going to be so gorgeous. I'm so excited about this colour combination. If you everybody will know what the key sweater looks like. It's a really lovely design. It's going to be really, 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 really cool. Look how fluffy it is. So yeah, so anyway, to get back to where I was, so the key sweater has an Italian cast on, which I've spoken about before. I did the Italian cast on for the terrazzo neck that I knitted, and that was the first time I'd ever done the Italian cast on, and I actually really like it. It's really kind of it's like dancing with knitting needles. It's really lovely and quite meditative to do. And but I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look at the terrazzo pattern again, but I'm pretty sure in the terrazzo pattern she says to cast it on circular needle, even though it's knit flat, it's knit back and forward because it's a, you know, it's a kind of neck. So there's no need for a circular needle, but it's just easier to kind of hold yarn so you don't have the weight of the garment on like long needles. So I duly cast on the Italian cast on circular needles, but of course it was the first time I'd done it and I didn't know how it was meant to look, so by the time the stitches had slipped onto the cord rather than being on the knitting needle, I'd kind of lost the turn. And anyway, it actually, considering it did really well, there's only, I think, the kind of last 3 stitches that twisted and I had to kind of fumble, so there's a tiny bit and it's at the back so nobody can see it. And so between then and now, I was thinking about it myself anyway, and I thought if I was to do it again in the future I would cast it on a straight needle. And then I watched the video. So Petite Knit has lots of kind of how-to videos on her website. I watched the video for how to successfully cast on Italian cast on. And so what you do, which is genius, you cast it on a so I decided to do it on a wooden bamboo knitting needle because then it's got the grip and the stitches don't twist as easily. So I cast it on a straight bamboo knitting needle, and then you knit 2 rows of double knit. So the term double knit in knitting kind of means different things depending on what you're doing with it, but this is just where you knit the knit stitch and purl and slip the purl stitch, and it's just to kind of shore up to give you a nice finish, the edging. And then so the first 2 rows you can maybe see, they're not in the round, they were knitted flat, but all you do at the end is you use the cast on yarn to kind of sew it together and then you get the nice finish. So I completely successfully knitted an Italian cast on neck, which I was really pleased about, and it looks beautiful. It's so lovely and it's obviously got all the stretch I'll need. So yeah, so I'm really excited. But anyway, like I say, it's kind of similar to the terrazzo neck, so it just somehow takes ages to see any progress in this, even though it's like, you know, DK plus fingering weight, which kind of works out to kind of getting on for kind of Aran weight. It just somehow took, and it's on, I can't remember what's on, 4mm needles. This has taken me ages. So I think I've only got 1 more centimetre to knit and then I can get onto the body. So then it should start to kind of get into the more interesting part. So yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to have the key sweater. I'm really excited about the colour combination. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. So that's that. So when I think I mentioned in the last podcast, when I bought the wool for 1 key sweater, I also bought wool for another colour combination, which is green and pink. And I'm really excited about the green and the pink. But I thought I kind of wanted to use this as a kind of my first attempt at knitting the key sweater, so that by the time I come to knitting the green and the pink, I should know what I'm doing. So again, I didn't take it out of the bag, but I will. Sorry about the rustling. So that's the pink and that's the green. So it's going to be, I love this pink, it's so nice. So again, it's in Drops Charisma, and it's like, how cool that is. It's going to be so funky. I'm really excited about knitting this one. But there's a lot of knitting in the key sweater, so yeah. I'll be knitting this into kind of like winter time. This will be my winter project, and hopefully I'll have the brown and white one to keep me warm. Yeah, so I'm really excited about the key sweater in pink and green. It looks so cool. It just looks so cool. Yeah, so that's that. And then, so I kind of mentioned, so this is a whip, but it's not really a whip in that I'm gonna frog the whole thing. Because, so I started knitting it. So the Fiesta socks, so it's the same thing, this is Drops Fiesta. And this one is in, I can't remember, I didn't really kind of mean to talk about it today. Carnival? Is it Carnival? No, that's Winter Carnival. That's the one. I can't remember what this is called. But it's a really lovely green. DK sock knitting, Drops Fiesta. So these are knitted on 4mm needles. And I thought I'd kind of go down a needle size. So these are on 3.75. I was just curious what the difference would be. And I cast these on because my little 10-year-old friend Willow had a sleepover with me last weekend or the weekend before, can't remember, recently. And she was really great. We did quite a few things together, and we kind of had she was with me for 24 hours. Her dad and my husband worked together, so they were away doing Glastonbury. Yeah, they were at Glastonbury last weekend. And her mother was working on the Sunday, so I had her on the Saturday night. So yeah, it ended up being 24 hours. She's here all the time, so she knows the house really well. She's got all her favourite things to do, so it was quite easy. But anyway, she wanted me to sit beside her while she watched a TV programme called Murder Drones, which is a cartoon. So things like Captain Underpants, you know, I can kind of watch that and it's quite funny, and I can see it's got a storyline. Murder Drones, I had no idea what was going on, so to stop myself from going bonkers for the kind of half hour or so we watched it before bed, I just grabbed this and cast it on there and then and got this far. But I thought, after the success of my Italian cast on here, because of the one thing about knitting socks is, so it's okay for myself because you've got, I don't even do a long tail cast on, I just do like a normal cast on. But it's got kind of limited stretch, so sometimes getting over my heel, I just have to be careful because I don't want the yarn to break. So I thought I'd rip this whole thing out and do an Italian cast on for socks now, and see how far I get. So yes, there's not much to rip out. I'm happy to sacrifice that, and I'm going to do an Italian cast on. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And maybe going forward, all of my kind of socks will be Italian cast on now. So yeah, so that's my kind of unintended third whip. So yeah, talking about, you know, last time I mentioned like the spreadsheet I have for all of the works in progress that I have, or, you know, I had over 20 projects where I had the wool or the yarn and the pattern, and I just need to work my way through them. And I had to put myself on a yarn buying ban, but then, you know, I just see yarn that I really like. For example, the I'm trying to find it again. The linen deal. I've actually just yesterday I ordered this linen deal and this to make whole garments out of. And I'm not even entirely sure exactly what I'm going to make. A summer tea, obviously, but I've been looking at the Clover tea by Lenny Samso. I was looking at the Tolsta tea as well. I like the one with the kind of the yarn overs, that version. So I thought, the thing I like about Rebecca Clow's designs is that she puts bust shaping in to all of her garments now, and I just think it makes a difference. It's really, I think it just gives better definition and shape to a garment. So I've got these two colours coming, and like I said before, I've got more of the kind of raspberry, this and raspberry to make another Sophie scarf. So much for my yarn buying ban, but you know, who cares? Yarn is too much fun not to buy. Yeah. So my spreadsheet actually is coming down, so I'm knocking stuff off all the time. Like, that's 5 garments I've knocked off my list, and even though I'm adding 1 or 2 on, I'm still kind of making progress in reducing my projects to knit. So I think that's pretty good. I'm going to break here, and I mentioned Willow earlier, and in the last podcast there was a segment on us talking about crocheting a bee. So I'm going to insert 2 clips of us when she had the sleepover of us starting to crochet the bee. Okay, I'll be back. So, hello, my name's Paula.
And I am Willow.
Okay, and today this is the second segment of our bee crochet. So what we're going to do today is we're going to watch the bee video on how to make a bee, and then we're going to start the bee off. So this is just the kind of introductory first section, isn't it? We both brushed our hair and done our makeup.
I haven't done any.
Willow had a sleepover last night, so
yeah,
that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And partway when I got into bed, first of all the covers were wrapped around her, so I had to gently pull the covers off her so that I could be covered. And then at one point she kind of flopped her hand onto my nose. Oh. So I had to pick up your arm and put it back on your body.
I probably wouldn't have even known that if you didn't tell me, because I was probably too busy sleeping.
Yeah, you were. You were very asleep when I came to bed. Did you even know I was in bed? Because I got up before you as well, didn't I?
No, I actually didn't even know. I thought that when I had gotten up.
You just been sleeping by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, okay, so we're going to stop recording just now, and we're going to watch the video and hopefully record a little bit more later.
Yay.
Right, okay, so we've done 2 rounds of crocheting the bee, so
It's taking a while.
it's taken us ages.
It's progress so far.
I don't know if you can see, that's our progress. I hope that's focusing. I'm not sure.
I think that is.
Is it focusing?
We have
So,
many eyes.
We've got 4 eyes for the bee for some reason. Maybe, I don't know why. We don't know why.
We can give it 4 eyes.
That's what the bee looks like, just to remind you, given that our meagre. This probably taken us about half an hour.
Yeah, probably.
But we were watching the video while we did it, so we were following along to the video.
Yeah.
And so what our plan is next is we're going to stop here for the day because we're losing focus.
Yeah.
I'm going to find my battery charger for the camera, And then we're going to come back next time. So every week when Willow comes, we'll just do a bit more. And what we want is, so just to kind of get this more established so that Willow can do it. So I've done this bit with Willow's help. Willow's been helping me with stitch markers.
Yeah.
But we want to get it to a point where Willow can do it. So stitch markers. So how are you feeling about crocheting the bee now?
I mean, like, it's still been taking like a really long while, so
yeah, but it's our first time crocheting, so it's kind of to be expected. But thankfully there's a video because it is quite. So I can knit. I can do any knitting pattern. I'm a kind of really good knitter, but I've never crocheted. Well, I've done a bit of crochet, but not followed a pattern. So this is new to us, but it's good to do something new.
yeah.
Isn't it? So what do we think we're going to do now? We could either go for a walk or go and get cake, or...
Oh, cake!
Shall we go and get cake?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go and get cake. Okay, so thanks for watching, and keep following for the progress on the bee.
Yes.
And say goodbye.
Goodbye.
So, I hope you enjoyed me and Willow. What I'm going to do now, I actually, after Willow left that day, I did continue crocheting the bee, but I know I've gone wrong, so I'm going to have to rip back the 2 rounds that I did and kind of continue from the point that we left it off at. But I know where I went wrong now. I feel like I think it's actually going to be quite simple to crochet the bee. Now that I think I know where I'm poking the crochet hook. And I think I understand where you kind of like how to make a stitch is just by going back into the same hole. So I think but what I want to do before I do that is actually just watch a crochet video, and there's a kind of, along with the actual bee crochet video, there's a how to crochet video as well, so I should watch that. Back to my thing of thinking I can do something, excuse me, without really looking at how someone else who knows what they're talking about does it. So yeah, so I actually think what I want to do, and we said it in the segment we recorded, is get the bee to the point where Willow can do a bit of it herself. So, but I realised, so when we were talking about it, we got all the stuff out, and then she kind of lost, which is to be expected because I was doing it and she was just kind of helping. Kind of lost a bit of interest while we were doing it, which is why I stopped. It did take a while as well, and I kind of realised, because she said to me, when the bee's finished, can she take it home? And I kind of realised that I think maybe what she's really interested in is having the finished crochet bee, which of course she can have it, it's her bee. So I think she's more interested in having the bee than crocheting the bee. But anyway, I think it would be really nice for her to do a couple of rounds just to get the hang of it, because she might take to it, and she's got, for her birthday as well as getting the bee amigurumi kit from me, she got I think her mum got her a frog amigurumi kit, I think. So after we've done the bee, there will be another thing to crochet. And I do really like the amigurumi. It's so kind of cute, and yeah, I'm kind of envious of people who can crochet cute little animals. But yeah, so I kind of realised Willow was more interested in getting the finished bee than crocheting the bee. But it's really good fun recording with her, because I just never know what she's gonna do or say, or and she's very funny. She's very funny anyway. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm still reading Intermezzo. I'm almost finished it, and then I'll be able to read something else. And I'm really enjoying it. I really love Sally Rooney's writing. There's a real kind of gentleness and nuanced nuanced about her writing. I really like her writing. But I am looking forward to moving on to something else. What else? Oh yeah, so my craft swap with my friend. So my friend Pam, she kind of sent me a message one day saying that she'd finished my present that she'd made me, and did I want to see it. And initially I was like, no, let's just make the thing, and then we can have like a kind of big reveal when we do the present swap. But then my curiosity got the better of me, and I said, yeah, send me a photo. So she sent me a photograph, and it kind of it just made me cry again, because it was such a sweet picture that she's done for me. So we haven't met up yet to swap, and I had started on something for her, but it didn't kind of feel quite right, and so I stopped that. I was actually going to make her a pair of, I don't know, the books. I'll maybe show you next time. It's a pair of kind of folk mittens with a Norwegian star design, kind of Norwegian snowflake design. And I got so far in, and I just somehow, it didn't feel right. And I remember the last time I made a pair of those mittens, it took me about 4 years to finish them, because colour work, I was really into colour work for a while, and I've just lost my kind of urge for it. So I thought, instead of like trying to force something, because the thing about knitting, it has to be enjoyable. So I thought, I'm gonna not do that. And then it was like, what should I do? I considered making her a peacock tee, and I was thinking kind of like a kind of raspberry colour, or a kind of purpley colour might suit her colouring. Or I was thinking about making her a Stockholm slipover in a kind of pink colour. But I've already made myself one in pink, and making exactly the same garment again just isn't enjoyable. I could have chosen a different colour. But then I kind of thought, maybe it's not going to be ready for summer this year, but I could have it ready for autumn. So I've got an autumn project lined up to make her, and I will cast on, probably when I've finished the current Ida tee I'm knitting, I'll cast it on. We're hoping to meet up sometime in July, so I've got a bit of time to finish it, and it'll take me a wee while, but it won't take me like a month. So it'll take me maybe a couple of weeks, a week or a couple of weeks. So I hope she likes it. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything. I've come in at about an hour this podcast, but it's good to kind of get it all done and documented so that I can move on. Okay, so today I think I'm just gonna, all the dishes are over there, so I'm gonna do the dishes. I should really cut the grass, but it's not so much grass, it's more dandelions. If it wasn't for the dandelions, the grass would look like it didn't really need cut. But anyway, I might cut the grass just to get rid of the dandelions. And my husband's away today. They've got a gig in, I think, Cleethorpes or somewhere halfway down England. So he's away on the train today. He'll be back tomorrow in time for dinner. So that'll be good. And yeah, I'm just gonna do some housework and knit and read today. So that's all I've got planned. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on episode 15.